it's a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking, but of course you have to do stuff to in order to kind of make that thinking possible and create conversations. Um, but that there is an organizational side to it, definitely, but in the best sense. In the best sense. I don't know about what literary activists do in general, and because I use the term in a very kind of specific way, and I use activism in a very specific way. So maybe there are literary activists who want to write poems which are protest poems. I'm not against that, but that's not exactly what's happening over here. So in this case, it was to create a series of symposiums or symposia, and and for those symposia to make possible conversations about a variety of subjects which would be it wouldn't just be a theme. The subject would be looked at from a particular angle. The subject might also not be a proper subject according to any conventional sort of academic norm, like a subject like failing, for instance. And one would have a particular angle on that, including a resistance to kind of um, having narratives about failing that were followed by triumph. I mean, the feel good narrative of failing. So it's an eccentric project, but in I think, but in a good sense, not in just a it's it's maybe eccentric is not the right word, but it runs counter to to, to expectations. But there are a lot of people who want to respond to that. There are far more people who want that space than one would imagine. So one is also creating networks, but not networks in the sense post globalization, but intellectual networks. But this is not to replicate something that went before. One is not trying to create some kind of fake heritage form of modernism, or the avant-garde. You know, but one is responding to the now, and seeing that networks are possible, and various people will respond. you know Anybody who has that kind of disquiet in them, and also a writer in them, or a practitioner in them, is possibly going some part of them is going to respond. So yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it could be an actual space like the symposium, or a space that exists online, like the literary activism website, which I started in August last year, with the support of Ashoka University. Um, and uh, and it's amazing how much you can do with not very much money. You don't one doesn't require a lot of money to do these things, whether it's the symposium or the website. A kind of intervention can be made. One of the reasons I launched the website and created that space is because the first set of papers were published in 2017 as a book. And then, I got so caught up in other things, and there was a queue of papers waiting to be, from the other symposiums, waiting to be published. um, but then at the same time, I thought that, going to that through that process again. Let's say, I mean, let's talk about a mythic publisher, an academic publisher. It goes to the publisher, and then they send it out to readers, and it goes to delegates or whatever. I mean, the whole process. Best to bypass it and make it more immediate. Make access to it immediate as well, and have a website, and then let the website have another section called magazine for new work as well. You know, so that was the plan.